It's showtime, folks!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again. Today I'm talking some Lucha Underground for the first time. Season 3, episode 1 is in the books, and it was quite the episode. I would definitely recommend it if you missed it. But I enjoyed it, and let's not waste any more time, man. Let's get right into it. I mean, we started out with Cueto in jail doing pull-ups of all things. I mean, it was much like when we started out with Vampiro last year. We had the big cinematic start, and it was a great opening. I mean, I didn't know the Hunky Tunk Man was doing things for Lucha Underground these days, but apparently he is. That was nice to see, but we eventually got back into the temple, and from there, Cueto had a nice opening promo. It was short and to the point. He threw a jab at Pentagon, but he got to the point, made a match with Pentagon and Rey Mysterio Jr., and he eventually got to this Dial of Doom concept. To which I was always a fan of spin the wheel, make the deal in WCW. But this is a variation of that. It's not exactly that, but it's a variation of it. But with that being said, he spun Son of Havoc's name, and we had our first match of the night. As it pertains to Son of Havoc versus Matanza. That was a really good start. I mean, that match was high paced. Son of Havoc got in a lot more offense than I expected him to get in, given that he's facing Matanza, to which that was a welcome surprise, because they did a good job in the match. Of course, Matanza, I always am amazed to see how complex his offense is for a big man. I mean, you just don't see big man doing standing moonsaults and the type of things that he does. So I mean, they had quite the great match. Son of Havoc had a shooting star press that was a great near fall. I mean, overall, Matanza ended up winning, but this was a great TV match that made Son of Havoc look like a big time player to start season 3, and it was something that he sorely needed. And I just hope that they could carry this momentum that Son of Havoc has. I mean, the crowd clearly likes the guy, and I hope that it was something that they carried throughout the season of season 3, because Son of Havoc could be a huge player as the season moves on. I'm interested to see what storyline he gets into throughout the season as well. Next up, we had Johnny Mundo in a backstage segment looking for a title shot, but I like how Dario Cueto called back to the past and talked about how he and the Worldwide Underground crew lost the trio titles last time that they were on TV, so therefore Mundo wouldn't be getting any type of title shot. We also got a nice callback video here of how they beat up Angelico, to which Lucha Underground is second to none in these cinematic videos. I have to give them that credit. In fact, I think that's their biggest draw when it comes to watching their show. Even though the wrestling is great, the videos are greater, if you ask me. But with all that being said, we got a match made with Taya going up against Sexy Star. That was a good segment, and it was short and sweet, nice backstage segment. But after that, we got Evilise calling out Katrina. Now, this is a feud that has gone back all the way to last season. And I mean, they've been building this feud for quite a while now. And it's nice to see that they made the match for Ultima Lucha 3. And it seems like we're going to get a long-term feud that's going to have a long-term build that will culminate in a match months from now. Now, as an old school fan, that's what I'm used to. I'm used to feuds lasting a very long time, not just a month and on to the next feud like it is nowadays. So it's nice to see that this is a long-term feud that's been boiling, and it seems like we're gonna get even more of that feud, and it's going to reach a boiling point before we get to, as we approach Ultima Lucha 3. Speaking of the Taya versus Sexy Star match for the Gift of the Gods title, I mean, it got off to a really good start, and I was into the match, but I didn't like the fact that it only lasted for a few minutes. I didn't think they had enough time to really get into making this a really good TV match. I wasn't that big a fan of the distraction finish, but I do like the fact that it seems that we're going to be getting a continuation of not only Taya versus Sexy Star, but we're also going to be getting a continuation of the Worldwide Underground versus Phoenix, Aerostar, and Drago. Maybe we'll get another match for the Trios Championships. I would certainly not be opposed to that. I mean, they had an excellent match. At Ultima Lucha 2. So I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll get a form of that at some point in season 3. Finally, we had the main event. I was slightly amped for this match as Pentagon Jr. or Pentagon Dark, as they're calling him now, versus Ray is a first-time matchup. I mean, it was a big-time feel for a TV match, and also looking at it, it's pretty funny that the crowd just loves Pentagon Jr. even though he is supposed to be a heel at this moment. I mean, the crowd will not boo this guy, and I can't blame him. I'd say that Pentagon is probably my fave of Lucha Underground and has probably been the MVP. It's either him or Puma. Either one of those two is the MVP as it pertains to all seasons. But back to the match. Pentagon and Ray had a very high pace right from the beginning, and it never slowed down. I mean, normally I'm not a fan of that. I kind of like to see wrestlers build their way up into a high pace, but this worked just fine. The high pace from the beginning worked just fine here, all the way from package drivers to top rope Frankensteiners. We had an excellent matchup. At the end, Pentagon had a callback to last season as he faced off with Vampiro, and that ultimately costed him the match as Rey Mysterio got the pinfall. But with that being said, I'm not exactly a fan of Rey Mysterio getting yet another clean win over a big name. I mean, Rey Mysterio has beaten Prince Puma and Pentagon clean in back-to-back victories, and as I just said, those two guys are like the main players, MVPs, or whatever you want to call them, of Lucha Underground. And I'm not that big a fan of them losing here, especially Pentagon, because he has been the main storyline ever since season 2 has ended. But with that said, Pentagon did still come out of this looking well, as he was about to break Rey's arm before Dragon Azteca made the save. As for the last scene, we had Prince Puma in the locker room, still down in the dumps about losing to Rey Mysterio at Ultima Lucha 2. And out of nowhere, Vampiro arrived, to which I had to do a double take because I thought it was Conan at first. But Vampiro said that Puma hasn't been the same since losing to Mil Muertes and that he needs to beat him. And Puma was surprised because he was expecting him to ask him to go after Pentagon, but Vampiro insisted that it was not all about him. This was a interesting scene, to say the least, and they have me extremely interested to see what will happen with Puma from here on in. I mean, are we seeing a heel turn coming? Are we seeing a story of redemption? I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens throughout this season, and I'll be watching closely and intently to see how they book Puma from here on in. Lastly, this was a very enjoyable episode overall. I'd highly recommend it. I mean, Lucha Underground came back. It was their season premiere, and it was a really good one, to say the least. I enjoyed nearly every aspect of it, and the hour start time, the hour length time is special because it feels like the show just flies by. And I had a great time watching this, and I'm interested to see where this goes next week. They set up some storylines, and I think they've done a real good job. So I had a great time watching it. Ladies and gentlemen, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe to this page. And also feel free to follow me on Twitter at SwissArmyKnight4. I live tweet wrestling and all types of wrestling, and I have a fantastic job doing it. I would love to live tweet with fellow wrestling fans, so feel free to follow me there. Thank you.